Hey guys, this is Carter, back at it again with another part of Bioshock. So, this one, I decided I'm going to do something a little bit different again for Bioshock. Considering that I moved through this game very, very slowly, I decided I'm going to actually make the pieces longer. So you can kind of see me do a lot more stuff in a single part than I would have usually shown up to this point. That's why this part is as long as it is. So
hires me to build a forest at the bottom of the ocean and then turns a walk in the woods into a luxury. Riot asked, should a farmer not be able to sell his food? Is a potter not entitled to a profit from his pots?
I don't know why I really love this voice actress.
And then I remembered who signed my checks. The only thing worse than a hypocrite is an unemployed one.
Yeah, so Langford here is pretty much the head of, I forget what this place is, Arcadia. And last time we played, we were going through Neptune's Bounty, kind of finishing up there as we were on our way to meet up with Atlas and his wife and son. The big bad guy was like, no, that's not going to happen. And he had a whole bunch of splicers attack the ship and it blew up. So, yeah, that was not cool. And Atlas was like, hey, you want to speak to him, you're going to have to go through Arcadia. So that's what I'm going through now. And we came across a Houdini splicer. And I don't think it's necessarily said here, but it seems as though here in Arcadia there's some kind of like crazy turf war going on between Houdini splicers and the regular thuggish splicers. It seems they don't like each other, which I'm not sure if there's actually some sort of war going on. But from what I can tell, especially in some of the logs that you hear at this point, apparently like they seem to be at odds with each other. So this guy was giving me a lot of trouble, and I am I start to realize about myself that, especially in these kinds of games, in first-person shooter games, I do not do well under copious amounts of pressure. Hence why if you throw me into a very stressful situation like this, like if one of those splicers come out of nowhere or a big daddy comes out of nowhere, I tend to panic and start pulling out the wrong weapons. So I guess at this point we're still moving through Arcadia, trying to figure out, where to go from here. This is a game where because of how like vibrant the environments are, I oftentimes forget that there's even an arrow above my head telling me where to go. The whole thing also has like a glossy finish too, so it looks good, and I kind of forget that there's even an arrow there sometimes. So I'm kind of just wandering through the place. It doesn't feel like I'm on a mission. So I will give the designers of this game a hell of a lot of credit. They've designed a very, very beautiful atmosphere here. So this was probably one of the only times where I was able to actually use the surveillance lock-on plasmid to my advantage, because I realized there was a turret there and I could just turn it against that splicer instead of having a full-on fight, because it was 2 against 1. So I was like, fuck it, I'll change it. And then while that turret was distracted, I just shot a grenade launcher at it because it was too far away, and in like the opposite corner of the room, so I couldn't really hack it. I couldn't have like a proper, like I couldn't hack it properly without getting, I don't know, completely riddled full of bullet holes. So something I do a lot more in this one, I don't do as many, I don't hack as many machines in this one. In fact, I think I just auto hack. Like whenever I have an auto hack, I try to use it for anything that's over half of the difficulty level. If it's lower than half, I usually try and just run the risk and like, yeah, I'll try and hack it myself. And there's many times in this area where they have these little crawl spaces, and whenever I hear someone coming, I kind of panic and just go into the crawl space. Like this one, I immediately was like, okay, I'm just gonna auto hack that, because there's no way I can do one that's that high of difficulty. So these things were a little annoying. It's kind of like tripwires. But if you hit it with something, I hit it with fire and I tried to shoot at it, you can knock the tripwires, or you can just let the enemies not go through the tripwires on their own. So you can trip them before even getting near them. Alright, so. And yeah, that's what I was talking about. So you can trip it if you either like hit it with plasmids or just something. I don't know the full extent of like what you can use against this thing, against those tripwires. So unbeknownst to me, I'm going the wrong direction. Even though the arrow is telling me that I'm going in the right area, I actually went through this area backwards. And I think I ended up back at the beginning of this area. Oh, I was on the other side. So this one I did decide to hack. There's something just so simple about this game, this hacking game, that I love so much about it. In any cases, it feels like a mobile game, like a mobile puzzle game. So it's very addictive, especially when you can find the correct pattern and see the line that you've built fill up with that tealish colored liquid. It feels very satisfying. So at this point I realized, oh hey, there's an arrow there, so I'm just gonna start following it. Now I realized that there was one splicer, I think it was a spider splicer, that I mentioned in the last part, that he was like a male spider splicer who sounded very... This guy. Oh no, this is a woman. But like when the spider splicers are in their area, or the splicers in general, when they're in their area and they don't know anyone's around them, they just start talking. One of them in the last part was like a German sounding one, and I realized that he sounded exactly like the medic from TF2. I don't know if that's him in this game, but it sounded very, very close. And if he pops up here again, because again I pre-played this area, I'm watching it again right now. If he shows up again in this part, I'll point him out. I find that my strategy, especially when it comes to stealth games, or games that implement like stealth aspects, stealth features, I find that I try to use them to the best of my ability, but if I get caught, then I just kind of say fuck it and go forward. The spicers kind of scare me too. Just the idea of being trapped. That's when I realized it was like, oh, that's in the Arcadia Glen. Arcadia Glades? Glades, I believe? Arcadia Glens. I heard moving in the area too. That's why I started freaking out like this, because I wasn't sure if there was going to be an enemy popping around the corner. So you'll see that whenever I approach these areas, I'm very, very much like trying to stealth my way through, and then at some point I just give up. There's an interaction I have here with a Big Daddy that comes up. I think it's coming up soon. It's actually pretty hilarious. So I decided, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get this Big Daddy on my side. And I realized, oh hey, there's a fucking guy here. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna grab a plasmid thing because I don't care. I'll let the Big Daddy take care of this guy. I forget what I get here. I think I just get I think I just got a health upgrade or an Eve upgrade. Yeah, health upgrade. That's what I thought it was. Because I find I die really, really easily, so... Do I auto? Yeah, no, I do a regular hack of this one. And... Ooh. Sorry, right before this, recording this audio, I recorded another part of Last Promise. I usually do these solo recordings when Eden's at work. But damn, they really hurt my voice trying to carry it all by yourself. Just trying to fill all the dead air. I give solo Let's Players props because it's really fucking hard. Now, I wasn't sure, but I'm pretty sure that area I just passed, the farmer's market, I'm pretty sure if you have the incinerate plasmid, you can probably get in there if you burn it. So at this point, every time I was able to hack something, I was actually able to get additional automatic hack tools. So instead of hacking the harder things, I would just carry an automatic hack tool on me and just automatically hack shit that was too hard for me. So that was kind of the process I was going with after, like, pretty much starting at this part. And again, at this part, I also realized that the Big Daddy was basically about to go rogue. And this is when I realized something interesting. I just ran into the corner, and that Big Daddy just kind of ignored me. And I also realized it probably was a stupid idea to take out the electroplasmid in the water, because yeah, that would electrocute you because I'm a fucking dumbass. So I figured I'd take a picture of that guy before he left, get some extra brownie points, you know, stuff like that. I've always been very fascinated about the Big Daddies. Big Daddy was kind of like my character of choice in PlayStation, the PlayStation All-Stars game. there's just something about their design that's so cool, and I've always wanted to play Bioshock 2, which I have it. I got the Bioshock collection. Oh yeah, so this here is Photographer's Eye 2, greatly increases research scores from taking pictures. So, I was like, I've been using the camera a lot, so I'm going to use that. But, I've been very, very interested in this enemy. Mainly because, yeah, I played as him in Bioshock, what's it called? In PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale game. Gosh, I can't believe that was a thing. Probably one of the few reasons why I bought a PS3, to be honest. And then I have Bioshock 2 because I got the Bioshock collection that has the original Bioshock, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. So I decided, I was like, I want to play Bioshock 2 at some point, because I know in Bioshock 2 you actually take on basically the role of a Big Daddy. Those Houdini splicers are fucking weird. So I just got a note from Eden. He was telling me stuff about work. And, yeah, I hate the fact that Eden still has to go to work during this pandemic, but what else can you really do? So I heard that whistling, but I wasn't really sure where it was coming from, but I did see that camera. Couple things to note. Big Daddies do not set off the security cameras, which is something I was looking for when I was watching that Big Daddy. Just trying to see, like, oh, is he going to set off that security camera? So, I also noticed the napalm, the liquid nitrogen stuff, which I couldn't remember at the time, but towards the end of this part, you'll see that it's for a weapon that you get later in the game.
What's the matter there? You look like human.
I feel so great. I'm dizzy, I'm nauseous, and sometimes I'm even seeing things that aren't there.
That's just the plasmid blues, Mary. You just need to slow down a bit and spice it up.
Every time I hear that Big Daddy belch, I'm kind of like, oh shit, I have to hide. Which you could hear it there. So I decided I'm just gonna crawl into this crawl space. So this whole kind of back area, again, that's where I decided to use another auto hack tool. I really like to get my mileage out of those, of just hacking stuff. I also wasn't sure how close the Big Daddy was where I was listening. I think I do go fight one in this episode, in this part, but I cannot remember. So at this point we're getting close to the halfway mark. And the voice that you guys heard at the beginning of this part, which I believe is Dr. Langford? Yeah, Langford. She actually appears again. She plays a part in this level. Albeit a small one, but she still plays a part in this. So I believe this might be where I got the funny interaction. So I decided like I wanted to try and hack it, but I just couldn't reach it, so I decided to beat it. Decided to kill it, and that's when that fucker just passed me right by. With no care in the world, no little sister near him, so I was like, I'm just gonna let him go. I realized it was the same one I took a picture of before, that I had made it as my ally. So I decided just to let him go fully before I took out this camera. If there's one thing I don't like in this game, it's the having to switch between the ammo. Oh, Ryan. Straight on to Ryan. I can't do a Scottish accent.
On the surface, I once bought a forest. The parasites claimed that the land belonged to God and demanded that I establish a public park. So the rabble could stand slack-jawed under the canopy and pretend that it was paradise earned. When Congress moved to nationalize my forest, I burnt it to the ground. God did not plant the seeds of this Arcadia. I did.
I forgot there was a rocket launcher there. It's kind of interesting, of like how this story goes about it, of like how Andrew Ryan sees himself, considering he's the one that kind of made all of he made all of Rapture possible, but there's a hell of a lot of religious symbolism in this game, which is very interesting. I mean, the fact that the whole thing is named after kind of like the whole thing is named after Rapture, which is based on a Christian event that's supposed to happen towards the end of time, where all the true believers in Christianity would be saved and go to heaven while everyone else burns in hell. Andrew Ryan kind of seeing himself as the benefactor of this place, as he's the one who built it, and doesn't understand why people still want to give all of this grace to God when he kind of literally figures himself to be a god, which is really kind of like fucked up. But you start to learn about someone's character based off the shit that they do. And you don't see it yet, but like the Houdini splicers also have a whole thing about religion in their being as well. You'll see it especially past the halfway point when we start after we I had a hard time picking up those items off that cliff. You'll see it once we get to the next major checkpoint here in this story. There, I think that was the one that I went to fight. So I always try to take a position before I go and fight. And I always try to take some pictures first so I can get a little bit more points. Oh no, it wasn't that one I fought. I think it was a different one that I decided to fight.
The minute we came here, Masha started screaming, "Mama, Mama, what is that? What is that?" I thought she was having some kind of seizure. And then I realized, trees. Never saw one before. Thought they were monsters. Oh, Sammy, maybe we never should have come to this place.
feel that's kind of... In order for that story to be true, of the kid thinking that a tree is a monster, she would have had to been born in Rapture, which is really strange to think about. This is, we're coming up on the halfway points here. So, you see that I kind of make a beeline for that camera that's in the next room. I always want to get the security out of the way before I do anything. And then this scene.
I'm gonna need you to listen to me. I'm no sort of botanist, but I think Ryan has just killed an Arcadia. The man's put something foul into the air. Bottom of the ocean, boyo. All the oxygen comes from the trees. No trees, no oxygen. Give me a spell to think.
Yeah. Oh my god.
One in Arcadia is an old Betty named Langford. An okay sort, but not above doing a dirty job for $1. If she's still kicking around, I'm sure she's gonna want to save her trees. After all, she planted the damn thing.
Oh, that's true. As you probably aren't able to hear it as well. So at this point, yeah, Ryan has decided to go nuclear.
To not let anyone out in the event of this kind of emergency. Either we get those trees back, or you're a permanent resident.
Oh, get that camera. I know I hacked this camera for sure. And I believe we're coming up on the end of the first part here. But yes, going over and speaking to Langford, that's the next, essentially the next phase of the story. And she requires us to do something very, very specific for her. Which, yeah, this is the end of the first part, as we subtly transition into the second part, where if you see that awkward cut, yeah, sorry, I wish I could, I wish I kind of made that cut a little more smooth, but, yeah, we're on to part 2 of this footage, so it's exactly where we left off. I believe I had to take a call right before I started this, so this is probably a good, like, 10-15 minutes after the first part, but yes, we'll continue on. I seriously think that Borderlands took their idea for their machines, their talking machines, where you can buy like health or ammo, from this game. Like, I feel like there's a lot of first-person shooters that took a whole bunch of ideas from this game, which pushed them into more popularity.
My trees. It wasn't you, was it? Ryan.
Yes, this is Langford.
The trees. It's a genetic vector that... Oh, I'm talking to. Could you find a sample of Rosa Gallica for me? Look in the grotto. I've got to keep working while there's time.
So at this point, I'm hearing a Big Daddy in the vicinity. It's not until I get over here and I see it out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, okay, I don't have any more, I have to kill these things. They're all in the same area. So I was like, okay, I don't have any more time for this. I have to kill this thing. This is me being stupid. Sitting in the same area as that exploding barrel. And then this is when I decided to go real nuts. And 3, 2, 1. Oh, nope. Just gotta take a picture first for good luck. But 3, 2, 1. So the Rosies, by comparison to, I forget what the first area ones were called, but the Rosies have like a rivet gun and they have projectiles. While the first ones that we came across in the very first level, they had drills, so they kind of would rush at you for like a melee attack. So I believe I actually did kill them, yeah. But the only problem with this was that I had killed him while there was no little sister in sight. So I didn't really even get to save the little sister. Which kinda sucks. It's kind of a bittersweet thing, as I killed him for no reason. But, yeah. At least I killed it. Still hear a lot of enemies in the area, which I was like, what's going on? Why are there so many, like, why does it sound like there's so many enemies in the area? This is one of those things where I keep forgetting there's an arrow above my head, so I'm like, I'm gonna check everything in the room, and then it's like, oh, there's an arrow above my head. And remember what I said about the religious symbolism that the Houdini splicers have as well? Well, this is the first kind of instance that you get of that. They have a few. Yeah, this is me just being paranoid and checking every single possible area before I move on. So I thought that was an enemy. Me being stupid. But this.
And call themselves the Saturnine. Please. They drink human blood and chant, harness the flame, harness the mist, and believe they're touched by the ancient gods. An aging bunch of frat boys tilting back goblets of plasmids and calling it ambrosia.
Yeah, so these it's weird like how many mentions of religion are in this game. Like these the Houdini splicers are very much, they believe they've been touched by ancient gods, exactly what Langford had just said, which like I feel like it's more of a plasmid thing. So yeah, so those guys do a lot of hit and run tactics. It's kind of what the Houdini splicers meant for. So again, me being stupid, I'm going around checking everything I can before going and following the actual arrow above my head. I honestly don't know why I do this. I think that's me being kind of like extra paranoid. Like mega paranoid? What would you call that? Mega paranoia? I was fully expecting like some sort of... Yeah, there's the second Houdini splicer locale. They seem to be popping up while you're backtracking. they all seem to be very similar in terms of like the Houdini splicer bases.
This is my territory.
I think I hit him a little too quick. I will say they're much cooler enemies than just the regular splicers, since they have both like fire and blink as their powers. It's interesting. They're interesting to fight against, is what I mean. Now, one of my problems with Bioshock, and this is not a game problem, this is a personal problem. My OCD kind of... I seem to just randomly use the Eves pretty much every chance I get them, even when it's not optimal. Which is probably not the best thing to do, because I start running out of Eve real fucking quickly. I thought I heard a Big Daddy. Which I did. However, that farmer's market entrance was not there before. Like, it wasn't cleared out like that before. So I assume that it got cleared out after I went over. I still don't... Oh, I think this is what I was talking about at the beginning, where the Houdini splicers and the regular splicers are in some kind of, like, turf war. Because I'm pretty sure those guys were all crowded over the body of a Houdini splicer. Like, they were beating the shit out of him. Yeah, they were. Security invasion. So I don't think I was going to use that plasmid, but yeah.
There has been tremendous pressure to regulate this plasmid business. There have been side effects, blindness, insanity.
I think side effects is taking it lightly,
What
Ryan.
use is our ideology if it is not tested? The market does not respond like an infant, shrieking at the first sign of displeasure. The market is patient, and we must be too.
You sure about that? Again, every time I come up these invent terminals, that automatic hack tool is the first thing I do. So I'm coming up close here on what Langford wanted me to get for her, which I believe was a... I forget the actual term of it, but I almost got killed trying to get this because, again, it's a bad habit of mine when it comes to my abilities, that I kind of just use them really, really easily. So down there in the center where that giant red misty area is of flowers, I have to go down there and pick off a flower. A very specific flower from that pile. And me being stupid, I'm like, I'm going to focus on these tripwires as I start getting shot at. And then I get shot at from behind because there's 2 turrets in this area. And since I have no health, I have no Eve, I have to do this in like one motion. So me being stupid, as usual, I was like, maybe I can get a picture so I can get some points, which was not happening. So I was like, alright, I've gotta do this quick. Thank goodness for those armor-piercing rounds, because they get the job done. And then me trying to fucking shoot up an electric wire. I have a lot of trouble with that, apparently. So, yeah, the problem I have with changing ammo that quickly is that the ammo fucking... Oh my god, that's even worse. Trying to use a machine gun to trip a wire like that. Oh my god. But, usually I try and go and, my first strategy will almost always be to try and fucking try and use Eve and try and hack the machines so I can get them on my side. When I have no Eve, I can't hack, so can't really get close to them. So I don't think I can go back into that room. It's behind me because I didn't have enough electric bolt plasmid. And again, this is me going slow because I'm very paranoid about what's in the area. And every time I see that little hole thing for the little sisters to escape into, every time I see that, I'm like, okay, that's cool that that's there. And I'm glad that I know that's there. But another part of me is kind of like, oh fuck, because that means a Big Daddy could possibly come down to this area, and that's probably one of the worst things to have in the area when you're getting shot at.
To me about market forces, and don't expect me to punish citizens for showing a little initiative. If you don't like what Fontaine is doing, well, I suggest you find a way to offer a better product.
Yeah, at this point, Ryan's going a little crazy with his tyranny, with his power.
Yes, I know about the lockdown. It's absurd. Just give me a minute. The Lazarus tests are very promising. If the Rosa Gallica bloom, then by God, I know we're in business. Lockdown! All right, I'm leaving. But somebody has to find a way to come back to check on these samples. They're very important.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, those roses are still alive after everything. So this is one of those moments where it's like, I'm like, okay, I am at the end of my rope, I'm probably gonna die, so I need to... Well, this was the best I could do. Kind of hide in a corner and wait for them to come to me one by one. Yes, I know camping is a huge problem. When I have like no health and no magic left, that's all. This is all I can do. Also, the shotgun's range is fucking terrible. I used pretty much like all of my shotgun rounds of that clip. So, and I could still hear someone in the area. That's why I was not moving yet. I do move. I think I do get killed at some point. Yep. That's where. Because I'm so focused on one area that I get tunnel vision. But it was kind of a, well, it kind of helped me out anyway. So I was like, you know what? I might just use this Big Daddy to keep as like a bodyguard, or I'll just watch him and see what he does. I think I use him as a bodyguard, but I can't remember. Oh no, I think I just run past him. I find I never use that gene bank because I've already got all the stuff that I need. So I decided I'm gonna rush to the end here. One of the few things, like, I understand why they do it, but like it's a little annoying is the respawning enemies whenever you're going back through the past areas. Like, I understand why they do it, but it can get a little annoying. So we're coming up on the climax of this arc. Thank goodness I still have my camera. Hearing those machines makes me want to go back and makes me want to go back and play Borderlands.
What are you waiting for? An engraved invitation? Send it through the pneumo.
I was a little sketchy at that point.
Yes, this is perfect. Perfect. Come on up to my office. I'm letting you in now. I think I've got just the thing to put the green back in this forest.
Now, I think when I was playing the original one fewer alarm tile, one fewer overload tile when hacking. I don't think I decided to use it. I can't remember though.
Isn't there anything in this damn place those pagans won't steal? Paper towels, ink pots, witch hazel, chlorophyll solution, even my back issues of National Geographic. They're feathering their disgusting little shrines with it, I suppose. Sick back. I've got the security system in this joint hacked, so those...
Yeah, as soon as I saw that security system thing, I was like, okay, I'm a little worried.
Who says you can't teach an old hound new tricks? This batty plant woman spends 4 years coming up with ways to defoliate trees in the Pacific to scare out the Japs, and now here I am, down at the bottom of the Atlantic, trying to figure out how to do the same thing in reverse. Adam, it's bathtub gin times the atom bomb times Eve with a serpent. Let's go see what it can do.
Oh, I believe that might have been when they were starting to experiment with Adam. And, oh yeah, it's, pretty insane. Based on what my character can do right now, I'd say that Adam is pretty lucrative. Seeing that, that Vita Chamber also put me a little bit on edge. 'Cause I kind of know what those are for. But this part, I remember this part vividly, because this is about the point where I stopped.
We made a business deal, you and I, did we not? Money changed hands. Let me read to you from the agreement. Section 3, subsection 4.
Mr. Ryan.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the plastic sector. Ownership is civilization.
Ooh.
Out into the
Oh my god, Ryan. Oh, Andrew Ryan. I was a little worried because I wasn't exactly sure what that gas did. I mean, besides kill someone. But, like, I knew that meant something, so...
Every time we get a yard ahead, Ryan goes and moves the goal line down to the other side of the field.
So yeah, she's dead. She's dead now. But you get a chemical thrower, which is what the liquid nitrogen and napalm was for to begin with. And if you remember, that's a 4-digit lock code on the safe. She wrote down 4 numbers there, which we can check in a minute. As always, go for an automatic hack tool, which I do first, then everything else follows. So that's 9457. So I was like, okay, it's pretty much got to be, that's the wall safe. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll try that number. And then it gives me Lazarus vector formula.
Point of being a damn genius if the only ones around to appreciate it are a bunch of spliced up morons. I've cracked the vector, or at least I'm 99% certain I have. I just need a bud of Rosa gallica to confirm my analysis. Distilled water, a bit of chlorophyll, and enzymes extracted from Apis mellifera. That's right, sweetheart. Honeybee spit.
Yeah, so it's this point where the game gives you a multi-part goal, and so you need to get a whole bunch of each of the things that she just described there. So you already have the Rosa gallica, which is the rosebud that you got from the last area. You need 7 things of distilled water and 7 things of Apis. She said it was like honeybee spit, and then 7 things of chlorophyll, which I already have 7 enzyme samples, which I had 6 chlorophyll. So I was good on chlorophyll, I just needed the other 2 aspects. But I wasn't going to end this part before testing out what this little baby could do. So I had liquid nitrogen and napalm. So my thinking is that the liquid nitrogen is good for well, the napalm would be good for human enemies, while the liquid nitrogen is good for machines and big daddies. So yeah, my that was a success. So I really like that weapon, the chemical thrower. It's a really cool weapon. However, there's a whole bunch of security systems and that were brought back on. So I decided to take out some near ones before I ended this part. And that involves, you guessed it, more hacking. Because hacking is what I do subparly at. I'm pretty good at it. I'm okay. I mean, there's probably people who are better than me at it, but I don't fucking know. My self criticisms are really holding me back. So if you didn't think this area could get any more hectic with all these enemies, there's someone who decides to show his face here while we're Well, you'll see after this hack. Boom, boom, get those hacks. Boom, 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 get those hacks. Should make like a hack song. Boom. Got the security camera. Didn't think it could get any worse. Well, it can. And, well, it's about to. It's about to in 3, 2, 1. Oh, Houdini splicers. Think could it get any worse from that? Because that already seems pretty bad. Trust me, it gets worse. It's like, hey, you think it could get worse? I don't think it could get worse. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure it's fine. Oh no. So I was like, why don't we try the liquid nitrogen on this guy? So, yeah, liquid nitrogen kind of freezes your target. It's really hard to do damage if they're frozen. And I was like, okay, I'm dead. Yeah, just just come out and hit me. So, yeah. I'm not the smartest when it comes to this. I decided to take more pictures because I'm a fucking idiot. And decided to use the, So as you can see, none of that's doing any damage. I mean, now it's doing damage. And take another picture for good measure. And freeze them up some more. So yeah, I do very much freak out. And yeah, he is not very kind to me. So yeah, me being someone who's just like, okay, fuck this. Just fucking die. I almost died again, as you can see how low my HP is at this point. But yeah, that was finally the end of that. And yeah, so now we have a definite job to do, which is to go out and find a whole bunch of these things. We need 7 things of distilled water. We also need 7 enzyme samples. As you can see, the Lazarus vector is there in the U invent. So once you get all of those, you have to make the Lazarus. You have to make it, the Lazarus enzyme. And I used all my auto hacks, so I couldn't auto hack that. That's the highest difficulty, so I couldn't get any more Eve. Damn, isn't that sad? Come back when you get some money, buddy. Electric gel. I didn't know what the electric gel did. But, yeah, other than that, I believe I finish up here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna hack this turret. And then after hacking this turret, I believe that's when I finish up. So, yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for this part, guys. You can just have fun watching the rest of me frantically pulling this shit together. And the next time, we're gonna start looking for some of those So some of those samples and solutions. And yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Alright, see you later.